very loud. So I couldn't focus on, my students were communicating. Yeah, they were, putting their mic on and then they were talking to me, but I cannot really hear them. But then the student told me they cannot hear the background noise. I was like, oh, not bad. Maybe what Google Meet has come out with some filter, some kind of filters. Okay, now continue with practical task for you. I start singing also now. Influence. you know, wait. Oh, Hokkien song. Not bad, you guys can even hear the words. Wow, you are not focusing on my class. You are like, you more to the song already done. Okay, this one done, right? Okay, requirement analysis approach. Okay, this one settled. Okay, so now I have 2 tasks for you this week. Okay, managing conflict. Okay, every student required to identify one set of, okay, I want every student to identify one set of requirements. Okay, why one set? You cannot just find conflict with one requirement. You must have at least 2 requirements to find conflict. So no need to go for so many, later very messy. So just find 2 requirements. You have to identify the source. Okay, you know what I mean by source? Who gives you the requirement? Based on your viewpoint, right? You have to tell me these requirements come from which source? Who are the people give you this requirement? For example, one may be from customer, the other one may be from the sales staff. Example. So you have 2 requirements talking about the same thing. Cannot be talking about 2 different things. If talking about 2 different things, there's no clash. There is no conflict. Easy. But then now conflict management, you must make sure the 2 requirements also talking about the same thing. For example, borrow book the other day. Remember? So librarian also talk about how to borrow book or return the book within how many days, or can keep the book for how many days. So the other party was patron, borrower. Also talk about the same thing. How long the book can be kept, how within how many days the book has to be written. So now, if these 2 clash with each other, you must have some overlapping between these 2 and clash. Talking about the same thing but slightly different. Can be slightly different or totally different. Totally different means strong conflict. Slightly different means what do you call that? Weak conflict. So every student find 2 requirements from your own module. So I want every module you have some conflict management. So identify 2 requirements that conflict with each other. Then I want you to use the 5 tactics to come up with 5 resolution for your requirements, your conflict, your module requirements which are conflicting with each other. Every student has to come out with 5 tactics, 5 resolutions using 5 tactics. What are the 5 tactics? Can you please recall for me? Anyone? 5 tactics. Drop, very good, not bad. You remember drop, okay, fine. That's the easiest tactic, right? We covered the other day. Okay, then some more. Avoid what? The first one. Avoid. You don't want to satisfy both. Restore is another one. Very good. Restore, drop. Okay, good. Restore means you rewrite the sentence, restructure the sentence so that they don't conflict with each other. So one of the requirement, maybe you change the sentence so that it sounds like the other requirement. Yeah, avoid the boundary condition. Very good. Avoid the boundary condition is actually avoid boundary, meaning you don't support this, you don't support that. You come up with a new requirement which is totally avoid both boundary. Okay, and then the specialize is actually you make one of the requirement more specific. Okay, for example, you can just say that, okay, what do you call that, this requirement is only, okay, can be given by this, can be only identified by this source. only borrower, or this requirement we can only consider from librarian. So when you become, when you make it more specialized, what happen? The other party you can just ignore because we go for more specialization. So that is an example. Okay. Or you can even target. Target means, you are talking about book, right? This book can be kept for how long? So if you are specializing your target, you know how you do. You can say that, okay, encyclopedia and certain revision book cannot be borrowed longer than how many days. Certain books can be borrowed and renewed again and again. Then you are making it more specialized. So the conflict can be overcome. Okay. One more last one. I think you missed one. 1, 2, 3. Restore is 3. Drop is 4. Yeah, one missing. Start with W. Weaken. Yes. You have the conflict between two requirements, right? You weaken the conflict. Try to make the conflict weak. Okay. So by also same like restore, but here the requirement, the conflict still exists. The conflict still there, but not very strong. Okay. So that's how you come up with 5 tactics, and then first must identify conflicting requirement for every module, then every student. Then you have to come up with 5 resolution for your module. That conflicting requirement you have to solve with 5 resolutions. But then at the end, I want you to come up with a discussion. Choose only one resolution. Of course, we don't have to implement all 5. Choose one resolution that you're going to implement to solve the conflict. You have to justify why. You have 5 reasons or 5 ways for you to reduce or overcome the conflict. But at the end, you only can choose one. So you have to give me the reason why. Okay, clear? So that's your task for practical class. I have one for report. I have one for report. Before I move to report, any question from your side? You guys have any question? Okay, class rep. Anyone absent today? Can you double check for me? Okay, let me know. You can just type here the chat here. Okay, so this one clear, right? So I try to chai check. Okay, is that the name or what? You are asking someone to check. Okay. You written cha, but then you type chai. Okay, so let's move on with the next one. The last thing that I want to cover for today is, give me 1 minute, the report. Report guideline. Now drama is it? Okay, assignment, guideline. Hello? Yeah, guideline. Okay, we have done all this. Okay, done all this. Okay, so the remaining 2 parts here. I already asked you to do this 2, right? This 2 done. Okay, so today I want you to, okay, concentrate on this and this today. Okay? Okay, for user interface, you know what? Every time when you have a system, you develop a system, your system can communicate with any specific user interface. Okay, for example, hardware interface. For example, library system. You have your kiosk system where students can perform their own check-in and check-out. So in that case, you have a device where they can go and scan the barcode and all that, right? So scanner, they have maybe a sensor, or they have their own device, a customized device. Okay, so in that case, you have to come up with all the requirement for that specific hardware that will be integrated with your system to work. So all the requirement regarding hardware, put under hardware. Okay, now let's say, Miss, my title is a web-based. There is no hardware involved. My system will be just installed, okay, in the server, and it will be just accessible by, using network No any hardware requirement, then you can just ignore this. Okay. Then next, software interface. Is your system integrated or will be integrated with another system? For example, when you are developing a system for an organization, they have some internal system which will work together with your new system. For example, TAUMT. Not bad, negaraku. So your TAUMT, right? TAUMT, let's say you have a new system, okay, to be used by the student. But for getting the student's information, you have to somehow integrate this system with intranet, student intranet. So any requirement from the student intranet will be stated as software interface. So all the other system, okay, which will be integrated with your system like payment gateway or bank system or any other system, you have to or API, okay, anything. You have to put all those things. All if you have any like specific requirements, you have to put under software interface. Then finally network. Okay, so any requirement, specific requirement for network comes under communication interface. Again, if you got nothing to do with any of this category, you can always skip. Okay, depends on your title. It depends on your title. Okay, and then lastly, state chart diagram. Okay, for the state chart diagram, I'm very sure you go back to your class diagram. You have so many classes, right? I want you to identify the classes that relevant to your module. Like each of you have your own module, right? So for example, library system. Some of you will have book. Some of you will have, for example, borrower. Some of you will have, what do you call that? For example, booking or reservation. Some of you will have check-in, check-out. So different classes, right? See this class under which module. If it is under your module, whichever important classes under your module, you have to come up with a state chart diagram for that particular class. There is no limit, no maximum, minimum. You know why? I'm not sure how many classes comes under your module. For example, reservation handled by one student. So I'm very sure reservation, booking, check-in, check-out all comes under that module. So you can come up with one state chart diagram for each class that you have in your module. So you can have like 3-4 diagrams sometimes. Sometimes you have only 1 or 2. User account, maybe you have the account, borrower, administrator, different account objects. So that's why I cannot simply say how many maximum, how many minimum. So what you have to do for state chart diagram, identify all the classes comes under your module. Draw state chart diagram for important classes only. Some very simple class, very simple class, you can ignore. Okay, very simple class which got no many state changes. No many state changes, very simple class can ignore. All the other important classes must show, okay, under your module. So every student, remember this is also individual task. Is that clear? Okay, any feedback? If you're not sure of any of these parts, you can just ask me. So basically we have covered part 3 for this week. Any question? No, for now. What about the others? Are also quiet your class today? How many of you already went back to hometown? Anyone on the way? Okay, state chart diagram is individual, means one state chart for each module, not necessarily one. That's why I say you have to identify Zizin. You have so many state chart diagrams. You have so many classes under your module. For example, some module got only 2 classes. You have to see this class comes under which module. First of all, you have to go back to your class diagram. You have to find, the way I pronounce wrong is it. You have to go back to the class diagram. You have to identify all the classes belongs to each module. So let's say one student has only 2 classes under your module, while the other student has 4 classes under his module, then the 2 classes, you have to come up with 2 state chart diagram, because one class will have 1 state chart diagram, 1 state chart diagram for every class. So if you have 2 classes under your module, then you will draw 2 state chart diagram. If you have 4 classes under your module, you will draw 4 state chart diagram. Sometimes you have even more, like 5, 6, 7, or whatever. But just make sure that what do you call that? Simple classes, which got no many state changes, you can ignore. You don't have to draw. All the important classes must have a diagram. Every class must have one diagram. So how to pronounce your name? Zixin, is it? Zixin is what mental, is it? There's a meaning for that, right? So Zixin, correct. If Zixin means different, no. Oh, okay. In Cantonese, yeah, that's why my father can speak Cantonese very well. So I know a few, you know, not to say sentence, but okay lah, can understand little because of my father can speak very well Cantonese. Doing business last time, so I always be with them, so I can understand very little Cantonese, but not Mandarin. Okay, okay. So any question from your side? Oh, I'm not in that group. Please. Ah, I don't even know one bad word. I don't know bad word in any languages. Maybe my mother tongue, maybe one, two, because I can't avoid. But then other languages, I don't know any bad word. Seriously. I'm such a good girl. I mean, such a good lady now. Okay? Okay. So, you have any questions? No questions. I think I don't want to bother you so much. Okay, I'm going to mark attendance now. So, I'm going to share the screen. If you have question, you can always ask me in the class. Okay, you can always Google chat with me. Google chat is faster, because you know why? Sometimes email I overlook so many email every day nowadays. So lot of emails, some irrelevant. So I don't really check the email properly. So I overlook students' email. So Google chat is the best. If you have question, directly ask in Google chat. Okay. Staff intranet. Okay, wait. I mark your attendance. I'm sorry again for this week. Nowadays, so many unexpected events, incidents. Login. Slow my net. Okay, let me share. Yeah, all present. Okay, wait. So I have to mark attendance for this Monday and Tuesday, practical and tutorial. So next week we'll start with the chapter 4 tutorials. Okay. Oh, very slow. What happened to staff intranet? Okay, student attendance. Okay. So Monday class first. Let me share now. Window intranet. Okay. Okay. So Monday view class. So I அடிச்சிக்கிச்சே Okay, so sorry, disconnected. Okay, give me 1 minute. I mark your attendance, then you may go. Okay, 7, 8, your class is software requirement, I think 10 to 11. So 10 to 11, all present. Okay, mark ready, and then Tuesday. Tuesday, 8 August, new class, software engineering, practical, all present. Okay, guys, please check. Okay, just double check if I have marked your attendance. If you have any issues with the attendance, please let me know. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thank you for attending the class. Make sure you guys do your work. Next week, maybe I'll ask every group to present in the lab. Okay, I will let you know what task to present. I will go through every group outcome. Okay, so I think that's all for today. See you. Bye bye. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for attending the class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye. Happy weekend. Yeah, see you. Bye bye.